Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to dive into the rumor mill, and we are going to take a look at a rumor that has just popped up today, and that is that movie star Ewan McGregor has signed on to reprise his role as Obi Wan Kenobi for a Disney Plus exclusive television series centered around the character. Now, keep in mind, again, before I start going into this, this is a rumor. Nothing has been officially confirmed. Um, and none of this is necessarily official, so take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. Um, as far as we're aware, no series has been announced, and no series has had directors and everything signed on for it. Now, what we do know about the Obi Wan Kenobi character is that before Solo: A Star Wars Story tanked in theaters, there was a plan, supposedly a planned Obi Wan Kenobi film, and a planned Boba Fett film that were both scrapped because Solo did very poorly. Um, now, because of that, a lot of people have been speculating lately about what Disney's plans are involving Star Wars on the small screen. Now, we do know that Star Wars Resistance is going to be entering its second season, and as far as I'm aware, the ratings for that show were not terribly good, and its graphics, its animation style is not very pretty to look at. Let's just say that. And the other series they're planning, The Mandalorian, which is a live action series, looks very good, and it looks like it's probably going to premiere to relatively good numbers because you have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni behind the movie, and Filoni is the one that's behind Star Wars: The Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels. So uh, it's good to see him behind a Star Wars television series. I believe he is directing the first episode of the series, and then Jon Favreau is the executive. I believe is the executive producer. But there's been speculation about that series saying that because Josh Trank, who many people remember from Fan Four Stick, the horrible Fox Fantastic Four reboot film, um, was planning to direct a Boba Fett film, and then that fell through when Fantastic Four came out and was a colossal failure at the box office. He A lot of people speculated that the assets that were going to be dedicated to that film then were switched over to The Mandalorian, which would make sense given the time frame of The Mandalorian in relation to that Boba Fett film that Trank was supposed to do. And the production budget probably would have transferred very well over into a longer, a somewhat of a television series, a 10 or 12 episode series. Now, this could be the same thing that we're seeing here, where an Obi-Wan Kenobi film was planned, it had money allocated for it, and then they decided to scrap it because of the failure of Solo, so now they are going to develop it into a series. Um, and I think it's plausible, but at the same time, you would also be curious to see what happens if there was a Boba Fett film, because the Boba Fett film, which was originally supposed to be directed by James Mangold, which was supposedly scrapped, if that money was also on the table, did they transfer that to another project? So could we be seeing something with that? So that's a question for the future. But as for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show itself, I stress again, these are rumors, but if they did get Ewan McGregor back to play the character, I think that would be a huge step in the right direction. I think fans had asked for an Obi-Wan standalone film for pretty much since Disney announced they would be doing Star Wars spin-offs. Rogue One was kind of like, okay, it had a very interesting premise. I think Rogue One was the best Star Wars film that Disney has put out thus far. But that was an interesting premise, and we got to kind of see some connective tissue between what happened in getting the Death Star plans and then Episode 4. So it had an interesting story. It had its own little place in the mythos, and it worked. An Obi-Wan Kenobi movie probably would have also worked, where we get to see him in the deserts of Tatooine. That would be very interesting. His time watching over Luke and stuff like that. And again, Ewan McGregor was speculated to come back for that film, even though it wasn't official that he was, because he had some bit roles in the Force Awakens, where he provided a voiceover during the Rey sequence where she finds Luke's lightsaber and has that like Force vision. Um, so there was a lot of speculation that he was going to rejoin the franchise. Fans were really excited about it, and I think that would be very interesting to see, especially because now Ewan McGregor's a bit older. Obviously, he's been in a lot of other acting roles since then, a lot of very good acting roles in addition to that, and it would have been really interesting to see him in a film. But if he is signing on for a television series, I think that's probably the best we're going to get. Now, the other possibility for this, which makes it far more probable, is that Disney does not have a lot of Star. Again, it's really just The Mandalorian. They don't have a lot of Star Wars content going on to Disney Plus in terms of episodic television series, and if they had an Obi Wan series, that would be a huge draw for Star Wars fans, especially Star Wars fans that are kind of hungry for good Star Wars as opposed to the crap they've been putting in theaters lately. So it would be a big draw for that, and they know that they've lost a majority of the Star Wars crowd, so it would go towards a lot of goodwill to kind of put that forward and include that on Disney Plus, in addition to all the other stuff that they're putting on it, including the Marvel stuff, moving over the Disney stuff. I'm assuming they're going to move the Fox properties over there and take them away from Netflix. They have. All of they're going to be linking in ESPN Plus and Hulu. There is a lot going on with Disney Plus right now, and they are showing themselves to be a very big competitor in the streaming market, even though they have not yet released the service. But if they add this stuff for Star Wars, and if they add more things in the future before the streaming service launches or not long afterwards, they're just going to compound that amount that they're taking away from other streaming services like Netflix and Amazon. So this is a very interesting rumor to me, but I think it is plausible in the end, and it's something that I honestly would probably watch if I was given the chance to, because I liked Ewan McGregor as Obi Wan Kenobi. He was really kind of that shining light in those in the prequel trilogy for Star Wars. I really had no problem with him. He was a really good actor. Episode one, it was kind of okay, but two and three, he was very, very good, and I liked the way that he played the character. His acting was very good. He probably had the funniest line, I think, in that whole prequel trilogy when he's talking to the guy in the bar about death sticks, and he just Jedi mind tricks him into going home and rethinking his life. It's pretty funny, but that's just a little tidbit of stuff from the rumor mill today. I want to know what you guys think. Would you be excited for an Obi Wan Kenobi series? Would you want to see? Do you want to see Ewan McGregor come back to the role? Do you think this is something plausible for the future that Disney's going to dive into to try and rebuild the Star Wars brand after they've thoroughly ran it into the ground? Um, put your thoughts in the comments. Again, I like to know what you're thinking. Hit the bell for notifications, hit the like button, subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?